Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sam and I've been working in tech as an instructional designer for over 5 years now. When you're making a career transition from one field to another, or even a job transition within the same field, job searching and keeping track of all of your applications can be a little overwhelming. You're applying to 5, 10, 15 jobs per day, and you're trying to make sure that you're keeping track of everything that you're applying to so that you can respond to the right people, know when your interviews are, and make sure that you just have a sense of organization amidst the job search chaos. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the most efficient way I've found to track your job application. We'll talk about what to include in your job tracker, as well as how to create a digital job tracker and a handwritten job tracker if that's what you prefer. If this video sounds useful to you, keep watching. So let's first talk about what you should actually include in your job tracker. I used to include so much information in my job trackers when I created them, but it got kind of like overwhelming to fill in all of the information for every single job, which kind of was a big bummer when I was trying to keep up my motivation in applying to jobs. So we're gonna make it super simple and just put the critical information. So first, you're gonna wanna make sure that you include the job title and the company. This may seem obvious, but because you're gonna be applying to a bunch of jobs called instructional designer, curriculum developer, learning experience designer, you're going to want to make sure you pair the job title with the company, because there could be different job title variations within the same company, or there could be similar job titles across companies. So just want to make sure that you associate the right job title with the right company. Second, you're going to want to include the link to the job posting either from LinkedIn or from the company's website itself. This is super important because companies can post a lot of different jobs, and it might be kind of hard to dig through and find the job that you had applied for. It's also useful because you can keep tabs on a job that you applied to, because if you follow the link and it doesn't work, then you can kind of assume that the job listing has closed, or maybe they stopped taking applications and are reviewing everything that they've received. And I'll show you how to add this both to your digital tracker as well as your handwritten job tracker in a bit. Then you're going to want to include a column that includes the application date, the date that you actually submitted the application. This is really important because then, a week or two later, you know when you should follow up if you haven't heard anything from the recruiter. You'll then want to make sure that you're also able to track the different rounds that you make it through. So usually there's 2 to 4 rounds per interview, so you'll want to make sure that you leave space to track that. And last but not least, you're going to want to make sure that you keep a space for notes so that you can track notes for each job that you're applying to, whether it's the recruiter's name or the email or the names of people that you're going to be interviewing with, or things that you've learned, details that you've acquired when you're talking to the recruiter or the different people that are interviewing you. And enough with all of that, let's go ahead and actually build the job tracker. We'll first start by building it in Google Sheets, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you how to create a handwritten one. We're going to do this in Google Sheets. If you're not familiar, it's Google's version of a spreadsheet. You may be familiar with Google Docs, but we're going to be using Google Sheets. If you're new to creating a spreadsheet, you'll start by clicking blank spreadsheet, but since I've already created one, I'll go to job application tracker. So here's an example. Let me zoom in. So here's an example of how I would set up a job application tracker. So in column A, it's called company. So this would be the company example, so company name. Then I would have the title that I'm applying to. So it could be title or role. So this could be ID, so instructional designer. Application date, let's say, you want to make sure that you're adding in your application date, the day you apply. This is important, like I said before, because you want to make sure, 1 or 2 weeks after this date, if you haven't heard anything from the company, you can send a follow-up email and just be like, hey, I applied on this date. Now, once you make it through, your first round, or, you get your first round scheduled for interviews, you'll put the date here. So say you have an interview 11/11/23. You'll know that you have an interview scheduled for 11/11. Same with round 2 and round 3. And finally, any notes. Usually in the notes, things I like to include are recruiter name, interviewer name, roles, and responsibilities that you may, I don't know if I spelled that right, that you may not have been familiar with, that weren't super clear on the job description. any other information relevant to helping you make your decision. So say there's like information about, oh, you know, this is a remote role, meaning, oh, you can work from home. Or they're saying like, oh, you need to work from the office Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Those are things you want to add in your notes section just so you have all the information you need for this company. So let's go ahead and do an example together. Here we have, we're in LinkedIn. Here we have, it's called Qualtrics. So the company is called Qualtrics and the job title is Principal Instructional Designer. So let's go back here. So Qualtrics, this is Principal Instructional Designer. We can just go ahead and make that. And then here, what I will do in this, I will copy the URL. And here I will go Command K and then Command V. Or, you know, if you click on this, you can click this link button. Here, let me try that. I'll show you the other way. So let's pretend I didn't do that. So if I were to highlight all of this, I will click this link button here, insert link, and then I will paste the link here so that the link, you know, when I click on it, Principal, let me edit that. Okay. Should be able to spell that. I worked in a school. And so now I have the link to this LinkedIn thing here. It's a lot quicker than having to add in a bunch more information. This way I can just quickly access this. And like I said before, if I click on this and this link goes nowhere, or it says, you know, this post can't be found, that means that either, you know, they've taken down the job posting or they've found someone for the role or they've stopped accepting new applications. And so they don't have the page up so that people don't continue to apply because they've already have enough candidates. So another version of this that I just made a new tab here, just another example. I personally like having like a fun header. I meant to mention this at the beginning, but I do like to make sure that I like the style of my spreadsheets for stuff like this, especially a job application tracker. You want to design it, make it a little more fun, because this is kind of like a stressful time. So anytime you can add a little bit of like extra something that makes you feel better, I say go for it. So again, company title. If you wanted to just include the link here, you can, like this, if you want it to be, you know, in here. I'll just make this go like this. Application date, and then instead I put a status drop down. Waiting, phone screen. So for each one, I can change the different status. So if I, just want to put, okay, I'm in round 3, and then the date, I can do that as well. How you create this drop down, just right click, and I will go to this drop down section, and I can create a drop down. So usually I like to have one blank drop down. This is, phone screen, add another, round 1. You can change like the colors of each of these. So maybe phone screen, I want to make it yellow for round 1. I want to make it green. Add another value, maybe blue is like round 2. Done. So then, you would have this. So say I'm in round 2. I would just put the date for round 2, or say I'm at the phone screen stage, I would just put it here. I've also done like a handwritten job tracker, and I actually prefer this because it's kind of more fun and I can customize it a little bit more. If you're into like bullet journaling or anything, this one can be fun because you can, draw and make it more fun with like different colored pens and like diagrams. So here again, you have the company, the role. This is where I have the LinkedIn ID number. Now this is similar to like the link in the Google Sheet that you just saw. And how I pull the LinkedIn ID, each LinkedIn job posting has a specific ID. So let's go ahead, and if you look, here's like an example LinkedIn job posting. Here, up here, after, linkedin.com/job/views, you see like an ID number. We can look at another example, like for this senior technical instructional design role. There's also an ID number. These two numbers are different as I switch back. So This is the ID number that I would put under the LinkedIn ID, because if you just type in linkedin.com/jobs/view and then put in that ID number, it'll pull up the listing, and this way you just don't have to type out the entire URL. And then similarly, the date and then the status. I like to put that in pencil because then I can just erase as I keep moving through the different stages. So, you know, maybe originally I put applied and then I moved it to round 1 and then I erased and then I'll put it to round 2. So yeah, just play around with it, make it fun, because, you know, the job application process is kind of stressful and might as well make it fun, right? And that's it for today's video. If you're interested in more instructional design or job search tips, I'll leave my job search playlist here. And if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.